And your event is starting, and we're live. Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Sunday, the 24th of September, which is important because it's my birthday, and this is the 13th Snappy-Tech podcast with Paul. This one's going to be different. We're going to be getting a little bit tipsy, and by tipsy, I mean probably just tipsy, actually. So let me explain the rules real quick for this week's podcast. We both have some form of alcoholic beverage, which I do not condone unless you're of legal age in your country, just as a heads up. So Paul and I have beverages which contain alcohol. Mine happens to be a 50-50 split of vodka and Coca-Cola in this here pint glass, which, it's going to kill me, I can tell already. I've already had 3 ciders, 2 hours ago. Not even 2 hours ago, like an hour ago. So, I'm not all there anyway. And then I also have a glass of water for drinking and keeping sane. And then Paul has some of his own drinks as well. So, Paul, what have you got with you?
Well, I have some Coke just in case I ran out of the beer. And I have some Bacardi and white rum and Disrana in my cupboard there. But I also have today's sponsor.
Oh, yes. I forgot you did this. Go on. What is today's sponsor?
Frankly, it's not my best work. But see, in the tech world, you get a lot of people ripping off other names, usually with something quite stupid and quite funny. I mean, Nickelodeon always used to do the Pear phones.
Correct.
You get lots of random Samsung knockoffs that'll be like Johnson or Samsung or something really close like that.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. Carry on.
So I thought that I could do the same with beer.
Okay.
And so in this country, you could get a beer called Carlsberg.
That is a fact.
And sorry, you can't get Carlsberg. I mean, the real big one is Paulsberg. I even tried to do the sort of the P similar to the C.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally didn't copy anything, and obviously
it's completely original. The product actually exists. If you go to paulsberg.com, you can.
This is just a generic can. It isn't made to look anything like any other phone.
Exactly.
I get a factory in China to make these.
Wow, Chinese label, huh? Ugh.
Yes.
Shouldn't you be bringing jobs back to the UK?
Well, let's face it, that's where all the generic stuff comes from.
Yeah, that's where all the non-generic stuff comes from as well.
Yes, that is.
It's where everything comes from.
Yes, it is. It's where
papers
come from.
1/7 of the world's population is made in China. So
imagine if Chinese babies had on their butt "Made in China."
Oh my god, that is so racist. So here's the deal. So we have some tech stories we're going to be talking about. I can guarantee you that the more we drink, the less we're going to talk about tech. However, these are the rules. We are going to take a drink every time one of us screws up a fact. So if, for example, this is the example I used earlier when explaining it to Paul, but whatever. If I say the iPhone 7 has 8 gigabytes of RAM, that is not true. I would have to take a drink. We also have to take a drink whenever I rope in a conversation. So if I decide that one of us has gone too far, right? If we start talking about Uber and we end up talking about how much we all hate black cab drivers, I don't know. And I go, hey guys, I think we should rein this in a bit.
Who's being racist now?
Oh no, wrong. God damn it! I meant the colour of the cab. And if I feel the need to rein in the conversation, that is also a drink. There was something else, wasn't there? I think I said something else.
Oh, there was also whenever someone says something good about Apple.
Yes, that was it. If one of us compliments Apple, we also have to take a drink.
Which actually,
basically, if you compliment Apple by misstating a fact, then I think that should be free drinks. So if I say the iPhone 8 has 10 gigabytes of RAM, not only does that make it sound better, but it's also not true. So I should have to take free drinks. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it. So. Oh, this is going to be a disaster. Mm-hmm. So, this week in the world of tech, Paul, tell me, what is your opinion on Uber?
Okay, let's think of a way to say this without it being wrong.
Oh, and also, every time... Let's do this as well while we're here. every time you misspeak, because I have a habit of sort of missaying sentences.
Oh, I'm screwed. I'm fucked right now.
So like,
Bye bye, Bacardi.
it's not even in the sense that you start the sentence and then you rephrase a word. But if you like say a whole sentence, you're like, wait, none of that was what I meant, and then you have to like say the sentence again. Is the situation there?
That is discrimination against the less speakable personings.
It is. Yep.
I
Congrats.
should probably take a drink. For
Yep,
that.
you should. Off you go. And Paul has kicked us off.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So, okay, what was I about to say? Yes, Uber news. So Uber has lost its license to operate in the UK, in London specifically. I guess that's a drink. God damn it.
Oh, we're screwed.
Oh god, that is strong. That is strong. I was not kidding when I said it was 50-50. I should also mention me and Paul have been ill for the last 3 days. So if we sound kind of throaty, that's why.
Yeah, so the alcohol makes a lot more difference.
Yeah, I also want to apologise to anyone listening to the audio version of this, because our voices are so throaty, but like you don't even have the visuals to save you. Oh.
No, the visuals don't really help though. Let's face it.
Let's start that again then, shall we? So Uber has lost its license to operate in London. TfL, the governing body that decides whether or not private taxi firms are allowed to operate, I guess essentially, has decided not to renew Uber's license, and it means that as of the 30th of September, please be right. Let me just double check that. Yep, until the 30th of September, they will be A-OK, and then after that, they will not. Simply put, they will not be able to issue the licenses required for drivers. TfL has given Uber 21 days to appeal the decision. However, as it stands right now, come October, there'll be no Ubers in London.
Okay. So, just a quick double check. So, from the end of the appeal period, is that when they can no longer do it, or from 30th of September?
I believe it's from the 30th of September, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, yeah,
because that's when their license expires.
Yeah, so there could be like a couple of week period where a lot of Uber drivers are getting a nice little holiday.
Yes, yeah. Well, they're not. That's the thing. Cause I get Uber a lot, purely because it's the only one with cabs right outside my house. If I'm in central London, I tend to try and avoid using Uber. But a lot of the drivers tend to use different services. So a lot of Uber drivers tend to also drive for Lyft or Halo or whatever. And universally, all Uber drivers have said to me that Uber is the worst app, like in terms of the way they treat their drivers. And that makes sense because Uber is the only service that is pushing towards driverless cars. So Uber's main thing, essentially, is that... Oh, hang on, I just came up with another rule real quick. Every time we make a accidental pun on a company, so essentially was a pun on essential.
So if I do the pun on purpose, then it's
fine. Oh, and on purpose, but if it happens accidentally, because I said essentially, I was like, oh, that's an essential pun. So if one of us spots the pun, then you have to drink.
Okay.
I've lost my train of thought. However, oh god, that's still so strong. I forgot where I was taking this. Well, what was I even saying?
It was about Uber.
No, I remember that bit.
You were saying about how it's the worst app.
Oh yes, that's one. So yeah, Uber are the only company going in the attempt of getting rid of all their drivers, as opposed to most other services, which are just using drivers as drivers. And I think what that means is that Uber sees all their staff as temp workers as such, as opposed to... They're not employees, but, you know, the way you would see a full-time employee. So I think it's a difficult one, but it's... The thing I suffer against in terms of this is I don't want Uber to be banned because I like the service and I like what they represent, but I do want Uber to be banned because Uber themselves are just absolute twats.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier on actually, and I thoroughly agreed with, is spot on. That we love Uber as an app, but as a company, they are a bunch of dicks.
I think it's pretty similar to my relationship with Samsung.
Oh yeah, Samsung. I can very much agree with. Actually, as a company, some of the people in Samsung are lovely. Let's face it, some of the people we spoke to at
I'll give you
events
that.
are amazing.
Yeah, no.
It's just some of the support people are not so good.
Yeah, that support is subpar, to put it politely. But yeah, it's difficult because Uber has had so many controversies in the last 2 years. We've been talking about it on the podcast. I've been talking about Tech News Update, Tech News Roundup. Sorry, we spent
Made a mistake.
Oh damn it! I spent like 3, maybe 4 episodes straight, just every week there was something bad to say about Uber.
I think we've done about 2 or 3 episodes straight on here talking about Uber.
Because it's just, oh god, it's just, oh, why did I use so much vodka? Oh man,
but have it straight.
I was thinking about having it straight, and then I was like, no, because I have to then sip it. Whereas with this, it's sort of, it looks like I'm drinking more, if nothing else. But yeah, Uber are just really shady, and as much as I want Uber the service to be okay, unfortunately you can't have Uber the service without Uber the staff, and that's a shame.
Well, I guess that's kind of Lyft. So
yeah, exactly, and I think what we'll see is a lot of these drivers will move over to something like Lyft or Halo, or Get with 2 T's on the end, because that's a reasonable name, obviously.
Yeah, I think if Uber fail to get their license back, then whereas before you automatically knew even round here, you would get an Uber within about 5 minutes. I think it will start becoming more like that with Lyft or Halo or whatever.
Yeah, what will end up happening is I think there'll be a service, and it will most likely be Lyft.
Yeah,
because if I'm not mistaken, Lyft are number 2 by quite some way. So it will most likely be Lyft. And when there was a similar situation in the US, there was the whole uninstall Uber protests. Are you looking up which position Lyft are in to see if I got that fact wrong?
Maybe.
But when it happened in the US sometime last year, I believe, and everyone uninstalled Uber, most people went to Lyft.
Okay, let's see if there's... Okay. It'll probably actually be Black Cab second, to be honest.
No. I meant in terms of like actual Uber competitors.
Oh, do you remember Addison Lee?
Oh yeah, Addison Lee exists. Forgot about that.
Yeah, everyone has started going back to work for Addison Lee.
Can you imagine?
Oh man. We've got Driver as well.
We've got what?
Driver, just missing the E.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
I think
I've never used it as well, to be honest. I don't even know how it works.
I think
I think that basically comes under the Black Cabs, though. I think Driver.
It might do.
The only problem about trying to Google this is if you use the word ranks, of course that comes under where the taxis park up.
Yeah.
Because they're called taxi ranks, and other than that, it's like Yelp. So... Oh, any reason to get you to drink right now, really?
Sorry?
Any reason to get you to drink right now, really?
Yeah, you're really pushing for it.
I can't be asked for that.
I have to say, the Driver Twitter account is quite interesting.
Probably, yes.
Oh god, they even have a tweet digging into Uber. They're really gunning for it. But the thing that concerns me though is that this kills competition in the sense that not that they take out Uber and then everyone trickles down, because that I'm okay with. What I'm concerned about is they take out Uber and then they take out Lyft and Driver and whatever else. Like they use that as like the start to take out everyone else. That's what I'm concerned about.
I think really it won't get that far. A lot of people are pissed off that Uber's going because they don't understand part of the reason why they're going, which is called security for their riders. A lot of people don't realise this is an issue.
Yeah.
So I think if they start knocking out other services as people get to start using these services and end up meaning just black cabs are around or something like that, I think that's just going to be something that will not be allowed to happen. At which point everyone will be like, just bring back Uber. Come on, there needs to be competition. And I think from sort of competition to stop companies from charging way too much, because it will get a lot of rebellion from people, and people will stop wanting to use them. Full stop.
I just want to point out that the Save Your Uber in London petition, which Uber launched, it's almost like they had this prepared. Like 5 minutes after they weren't given the license. It's almost as though Uber knew, and they're like, they're not going to give us the license, are they? So that petition went live 5 minutes after the whole stuff that happened, called Save Your Uber in London. As of looking at it right now, it has just over 700,000 signatures. Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, did come out yesterday and issued a statement saying that he backed TfL's decision.
It kind of has to be honest.
It's not even that he has to. It's that, these guys failed their... if I was promoting terrorism on Facebook and then Facebook got rid of my account because I breached their terms of service, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, it's all Facebook's fault. It'd be like, come on, right? They have standards, right? You can't be a terrorist on Facebook. Okay, it's just how it works.
I think that's a slight over-exaggeration.
Oh no, it's definitely a slight over. It's more than a slight over-exaggeration. Let's be real here. But it's a similar vein where if Uber has broken TfL's guidelines and what they expect from a private hire operator, then that is what it is, right? It's not like TfL have turned around and gone, haha, we created this rule just so you don't work, right? It's out there. You know what you need to do, and TfL have judged that Uber don't do it.
Yeah.
Can we just pile onto this real quick?
Okay.
Because it's been a great week for Uber, we promise. I just pulled up the CNET article which I'd forgotten about, and I had saved in my Google Keep, which is that Waymo has announced they are looking for $2.6 billion in damages from Uber. This being a continuation of the story where Alphabet's self-driving car company, Waymo, has gone to sue Uber because one of Waymo's execs left Waymo in really bizarre situation. He started his own self-driving car company and then got bought out by Uber. He allegedly stole 14,000 highly confidential files. Yeah, and
that is true.
I just want to issue this reminder that Uber, as their defense, stated that they couldn't have stolen the Waymo files because their self-driving technology was so much worse than Waymo's. That was an actual defense they used. They were like, we can't have copied them. Look at how much better theirs is than ours.
That actually kind of reminds me of a legal sort of get out thing that people use in books to be able to mention or to make characters around people that are quite obviously them.
Yeah.
But they would never sue you for it because it's just completely damning.
Mm-hmm.
It's called I think it's something like the small dick clause or something along those lines, where you say the person isn't very well endowed, so the person won't actually sue you because then they've got to
prove that they're well endowed.
No, they've got to say that they have a very small dick.
Yes.
And I should probably take a drink because that's a slight...
Yep. Off you go, mate. You know, we're 20 minutes in, and we're keeping strong. I'm liking this so far. We're doing well.
Yeah.
I
I'm
should
not
check on the
slurring.
chat,
You
see if
say
anyone's.
the.
Oh, whoops! I should check on the chat. Has anyone said anything? No, they haven't. Okay, cool. I don't want to miss out on that live chat, fam. You know. So where are we? Yeah, it's not been a good week for Uber, which is not surprising because Uber don't get many good weeks. Actually, I have a question for you surrounding this because my dad, I had a debate with my dad about this topic like 3 hours ago over dinner. We were discussing the Uber situation, and my dad said he signed the petition. At which point I was like, dude, why'd you sign the petition? Uber are scumbags. And he was like, well, the issue is, it's not that, if the issue is with the execs, then go after the execs, right? The service itself should be untouched because that's not where they have the issue. It should be, you know, we know that this percentage of execs are corrupt or whatever, go after them. What's your opinion on that? Should they be going after whoever it is causing the issues, or is that's not TFL's job, is it? Like that's not what they like. TFL can't do that.
I think they could say as a this is how you get your license back.
Yeah, they could issue guidelines, right?
Yeah, so we'll give you your without an appeal. We'll give you this back, like your license back, as long as they are taken off the board. Even if they're still getting a share of the profits and stuff, they just can't make any decisions about it because, of course, they're part of the problem. And it won't be the first time this has happened, that a company has said certain board members can't actually have any say apart from, or like the only thing they get out of the company is their money because of how it perceives to the outside world. And I think Uber are actually they've done this before where a CEO has stepped down because of this. Yeah. So it wouldn't be entirely unsupported to Uber. It's something they've done before. So I think it's something they could do again.
I think the issue is that as techies, right, you and I are aware of the really shady stuff that goes down at Uber, right? So we're aware of it, and I think there's a real... The thing that really cemented this for me was when the iPhone 7 was announced, and the world was shocked by the lack of a headphone jack. Because I know that you and I had been expecting it for months, right? We knew it was never going to have a headphone jack. And then it's announced to the world, and everyone just goes crazy. Everyone's like, wait, what? But they released an iPhone without a headphone jack? Right? So we're aware of all of this stuff, but the general population just isn't. And my dad sort of made that argument of, we might be aware of the fact that Uber are kind of dodgy people, but the average person just sees the app and goes, oh yeah, cool, this is Uber. And I think that it's not good, I think. It's like, people are relatively uninformed in the situation, and that might be part of the reason they're rushing to it, and a lack of knowledge of the alternatives.
By the way, we have a commenter.
Oh, do we?
Yes, I know it's someone you know.
Oh, is it? Oh no. Yeah. Oh, it's Elizabeth. Hey, thanks for the happy birthday wishes. Thank you. I'm gonna take a drink just for that one. That's good enough for me. This thing is, oh my god. So Elizabeth, just so you know, this is 50-50, like alcohol, vodka and Coke. It's a real toughen. It's a, whew.
Yeah, she said happy birthday. That's a lie. Take a drink. Yeah, no, I think you're definitely spot on with that. I think Uber, with this petition and the stuff they've been saying, they've definitely tried to make themselves look like the good guys in all of this. They've tried to play TFL off as ruining the competition and taking a little too much influence from other companies.
Yeah.
And yeah, Uber have really made themselves look like the good guys in this situation. And let's face it, really, no, they kind of deserve this because though most people miss all of the bad coverage of Uber's activities, they are there. And there is good reason for TfL to have done this.
Yep.
But most people don't realise this. Of course, what most people have seen of the coverage has been from Uber themselves, saying it's all TfL's fault. They are taking too much influence from other companies.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, and really swaying opinions in a way that shouldn't be swayed, I think.
And it's... I just struggle with this whole TfL have decided to, come against us kind of deal. Because if it, if the report out of Uber was, oh my god, Uber is the most amazing company to work for. They're like Google, but the floors are made of candy floss, right? I'd be on Uber's side right now, right? I'd be like, oh yeah, no, of course, Uber are this amazing company. Everyone loves them, whatever. But the moment you take a look inside Uber and the people who run the company, it's just like, not even for a second.
Well, what annoys me even more about this, a lot of the times, of course, the people in sort of that understand the industry more are more in the news, like us, with the tech industry, and of course Uber coming into that. Of course, we know things that other people don't, but there's sometimes
check
small
your privilege,
stories.
Are you calling our viewers stupid?
Well, they do choose to watch me and you, so
actually, I'll give you that one. Yeah, that's a drink. That's a drink right there. Oh god. Oh man. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I mean, like, some stories though are quite small, so unless you're really deep into the sector, you probably won't have heard of them. But the Uber stories, there are so many, and they're always pretty bad, and they are pretty... Like, anyone that's in the tech sector of news would have heard of them. And it's what particularly annoys me about what people don't realise how bad Uber is, because it is so widespread, but it just doesn't seem to get it to the common people, the people that aren't so interested in tech.
Yeah. And that is, I think that's a perspective that you and I, as tech geeks, will never really get.
Yeah.
Because for us, technology is the centre of, well, for me at least, it's the centre of sort of what I focus on. So I like to be up to date in the world of tech, and, Uber is in the world of tech. Whereas people who just don't care will have installed the Uber app because they saw an ad for it whilst on the underground. And then have no clue about anything behind the scenes. And the question is, how do you get those people off of Uber? How do you go, no, go to Lyft? Because they're nicer people, we promise.
Yeah, I think the problem with those people as well, until they have a problem themselves, they just kind of play it off and be like, oh, Uber's been fine for me. It's what I'm used to. I don't want to start messing around with finding other apps. Whereas we kind of know all of the apps, and of course I know both me and you, I didn't speak a lot with Uber drivers. I don't remember the last time I sat in an Uber and not said more than a few sort of sentences to a driver.
I had that actually. I had that the last time I was in an Uber, because I was running late to an event, I believe it was, and so I got the Uber because I was running late. And so I got in the Uber. I was so focused on just being like, when's the next train? When do I have to get, where do I have to be? Like, all that stuff. Like, in organising my journey. But I didn't say a single word to my Uber driver, apart from when we pulled up to the station, you went, do you want to be at the top or down the side? And I went down the side. And, I didn't even, look up. I was just in my phone for the entire thing, just figuring, all the train times out.
The last journey I took with Uber was about 10 minutes. It was the least I've talked to an Uber driver for a long time. Usually I talk for most of the journey with them. Yeah. And this journey I only spoke to them for about few minutes out of the 10-minute journey,
Yeah.
and that's only because it was like 7:30 in the morning. I'd only had like 4 hours sleep, and I wasn't feeling particularly great. I was a bit hungover as well, but I still spoke to him for a few minutes,
Yeah.
and usually the general consensus is I like the working scheme of Uber that I can work whenever I want,
Yeah.
but I don't like the Uber company.
Yeah. But and they've been really shady in the way they pay their drivers. We covered
Yeah.
that. We covered that in the podcast a few weeks ago. Their whole shady coverage of payment. Actually, on the subject of our podcast, I do want to point out that this is Snappy-Tech podcast episode number 13. If we pretend that it's also week 13 and we totally didn't miss a week, that means we have a quarter of a year's worth of Snappy-Tech podcasts. That is
Or YouTube.
3 months worth of a Snappy-Tech podcast. Which is crazy.
I just want to check something out actually quickly. We're technically not quite 3 months.
No, not quite. It's roughly 3. It's 14 weeks. So it is actually. It's close.
Oh yeah, 14 weeks. Drink.
Yeah, that's right. You better drink.
So I honestly thought I had more cans of this, and I did go down to get one, and realised no, we don't. We're actually running out. So, just a quick question.
Go for it.
I don't know how I randomly thought of this. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are actually on Sundays this year.
Are they? Awesome. Does that mean we're going to be having some drinking fun?
See, I don't know about, of course, a New Year's Eve, because there's a high chance I will be out. Let's face it, it's New Year's Eve.
What's that supposed to mean, huh?
You're lonely, George. That's what it's supposed to be. I
mean, that's not wrong, so.
Yeah, I'm totally not lonely.
You were the coolest kid on the block.
That's why I've just took on a drink.
Yep. Yeah, you better.
Took on that strong as well.
Yep, off you go. I just want to point out the first podcast. Oh, damn it. I'll take a drink in a second. The first ever podcast, the Snappy-Tech podcast, was June 25th. So it is almost perfectly 3 months. Which is ridiculous, because it feels like a week ago.
I was right. No, if it honestly feels like, rather than 3, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Like 3.
Yeah. I think part of that is because I was in Georgia for 3 weeks, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But no, it's... I can't believe.
It does not feel like 3 months. Sorry.
On Christmas Eve, there'll probably still be tech news running up to Christmas Eve.
Yep.
So I'm definitely up for Christmas Eve.
I think what we'll do... I've got construction going on downstairs or something. Can you hear that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh man,
it sounds kind of like squeaking of like floorboards or beds, to be honest.
Oh no, that might have been. I might have accidentally hit the mic. There's like someone's hammering something into a wall downstairs.
Yeah, it sounds kind of squeaky as well.
I think that's my chair. If I do this.
No, it wasn't that. It was more of a floorboard squeak rather than like a high pitched squeak.
Oh right. Maybe it's just because it's barely being picked up by the mic. But yeah, I think what we'll do for the Christmas and New Year's episode is that those will be pre-recorded, so we won't be live on those 2 days.
Aww.
Because as much as I love you, Paul, I'm not gonna make you go live on Christmas Day.
Well, no, it wouldn't be on Christmas Day. It'd be on Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve, yeah, same difference.
See, I'm not. I don't know about New Year's Eve, but Christmas Eve, I'm perfectly happy to do another drunk episode where there's a lot more alcohol than this.
Oh, mate, we can have Christmas themed cocktails. Oh, do you know what we should do? We should each have the. I'm about to rein us in, so I'll take a drink in a second. I said in my head, just like I just had this like flashing light of like rein us back in, rein us back in. What we can do is we can like make the same drinks for like the same cocktails, and then we each have to drink that cocktail for like those cocktails. So we'll have like a series of drinks. I'm gonna now rein us in and take a drink as I do, as we go on to our next topic, which there we are. The next topic, which is the geniuses over at Equifax. Oh man, that was a big one.
This is a story that I don't actually know particularly well
So
myself.
Equifax haven't had a good week. They got breached a couple of weeks ago. That was not good. And then someone clearly didn't brief their PR team or anyone who had access to the Twitter, apparently, because they kept sending the link to the fake website. So what Equifax did is they set up equifaxsecurity2017.com, right? So they set up that domain as a website where people who had issues would go to get all of the information about the thing. And I just want to point out that this is a very stupid idea. Never do this. If you are hacked and you need to create a web page, you make that the homepage of your normal website, right? That's just what you do. You don't create equifaxsecurity2017.com, because then you end up in a situation which Equifax have ended up with, which is someone registered the domain Security Equifax 2017, which is only slightly different, but very, very wrong. It's actually, if you tried to access it with Chrome right now, you will actually get a warning saying that it's a deceptive site. You get a massive red... Actually, let me switch to my main screen. You get a massive red warning symbol saying it's a deceptive website because it was reported to... oh, come on! It was reported to Google and to Virgin Media, apparently, because once I bypassed it through Google, Virgin Media refuses to let me through. So, you know, they've really jumped on top of that. But basically, someone created that, and it was used to collect all of the information, and the official Equifax Twitter was giving people that link, because that's what happens when you create a temporary URL that is ridiculous and that can be easily copied, like the idiots at Equifax. So congrats to them. That's all I have to say.
Well, let's face it, Equifax are a bunch of idiots because the security attack happened in the first place and they handled it like a bunch of idiots. So it's kind of not surprising, to be honest. They're not exactly very computer savvy over there.
Clearly not. And then it's also worth noting that their actual website was just ridiculous anyway. Right? So the website they created, EquifaxSecurity2017.com, had its own issues. So the fact that it was because it was created so... It was such a spur of the moment situation. The username and password to get into this website was like SQL and admin or something like that. It was like it was like a default database password, like that kind of deal. And then on top of that, if you did wget, which is a command on Linux, so if you did wget and then the URL, if you do it for most websites, it will download parts of the website but not all of it, because of security, right? If it's like YouTube, for example, what they tend to do is they tend to cache content on the local machine and refer to that. It's called a blob. So if you right click a YouTube video and like try to get the source code for the video to download it, it won't work. You'll just get that blob URL. Guess what? Equifax didn't do that. So using the wget command on Linux, it would download the entire website, including all of the images, all of the HTML, and all of the CSS, including the SSL certificate, and it meant that you'd have a perfect clone of a website. How? Just how?
Once again, they obviously aren't very smart if the hack happened in the first place.
It's situations like this, and you know, it's clear that what's happened here is it was all. I should point out, it was all one guy. It was all one guy called Tim tweeting this fake URL. So what's clearly happened here is he's Googled security Equifax, and that's the first link that's come up, and he's just been copy and pasting that. But even then, like, oh my days, how does that? This guy, first of all, right? He should have had that in a document, right? Because hypothetically, right, I feel like if Snappy-Tech was to have a breach right now, what you do is you create a document and you say, this is what we say. This is don't say anything outside of this Word document, right? This is word for word what you will tell people, and copy and paste it from this document and nowhere else. Because you never know in that situation, right?
Yeah, I think when you've made such a big mistake like that, there is no... You're not going to rectify it easily. Your name is going to be pretty badly smirched for a while anyway. So when you are dealing with the incident, you need to be as smart and as careful as possible. And you need to have some very good strategies in place.
I'm not sure you got that right the second time round, I'll be honest. That was way too borderline.
I was already gonna take a drink anyway.
Good.
But you really need to get the you really need to get the strategies in place to make sure that you don't do mistakes like this guy has done. It is such a rookie mistake for a page like that. And it is a time when they really, really, really needed to make sure that didn't happen.
Can I ask you a quick question that is completely unrelated to this, real quick? I just got followed by Emily on Twitter, which is where my question comes from, which is why the hell is her Twitter handle @Professor X? Is that like? Why? Just because I got the notification through on my phone, but I was followed by Professor X, and I had no idea who that was, and I just got the notification on my TweetDeck as well, and TweetDeck gives you the name of a person as well, right? So it gives you their name and the username. I'm so confused.
She changes.
Oh wait, I know why. I've just figured it out. It's her Twitch ID as well. It's her Twitch.
It used to be something different.
I see.
It used to be, I think it was Snapwire.
Is it just a bunch of tech puns? Because that's all I'm seeing.
It used to be Haywire or Snap the Wire or something. Because I always used to make the joke whenever she used to say hey, I always used to be like, hey, Wire. And she used to always growl at me.
Really quickly,
really
quickly, go follow Professor X on Twitter. That's PROFFESSOREX. As in Professor X, as in ex-girlfriend, as opposed to X as in Professor Xavier.
Okay then.
What?
Is there something you should be telling me right now?
No, there isn't. That was just I saw X and thought like it's that spelling as opposed to Charles Xavier. You know, like the X-Men, which is probably what this is a pun off. So go follow her on Twitter, or it's Professor X on Twitch. Go do it. She's all right, I guess. I've met her once. I'm not sure why we're promoting her Twitter right now. Also, go follow Paul. It's @PaulStubbers.
Well,
and while we're at it, also follow. Let me just see who followed me last on Twitter, apart from her, because apparently we're just doing a Twitter promo round right now. Also, go follow Elizabeth Dent. That's at. Hang on, let me. Oh wait. I mean, she wished me a happy birthday. I can't say no to that, right?
Whilst we're on the subject of her, though, if anyone that is watching, listening, or however you are,
whatever you're doing
this content right now,
the hologram you're watching this on because you're on a UFO.
Yes. If you want to see a Huawei P10 Lite review,
go follow her on Twitter and tell her. Yeah. Do it. Go.
Yes, do it. Do it now. Either message me or George, or preferably message her and be like, just to get on Snappy-Tech.
Go to Professor X and be like, do that review. Just do it.
Yeah, and make the phone float.
Also, go follow Elizabeth Dent. That's @YesBethDent, apparently. So go do that, and then also follow. I'm just gonna fire out a bunch of names real quick. Also follow what's Tom's
@Pornhub.
Follow at Tom real Tom Livesey. I'm not sure why Tom has real Tom Livesey, but he does. But Livesey is spelled Livesey.
Go follow at Paulsberg.
Oh yeah, go follow at Paulsberg. Is that even a real Twitter account?
Probably not.
I really hope it is. It's not. Oh no, it is. Paulsberg is a real Twitter account. Go follow that. It's a German-based design studio.
Paulsberg beer. No, we really need to copyright all our new products.
We really do. And then I want to promo someone else. Let's go with one more. Go follow. Oh, hang on. Go to Instagram and follow. I don't know what her Instagram. Nope, not that one. That is a solid no. Go follow.
On Twitter, let's follow GR36.
Oh yeah, go follow Greg Morris. Greg Morris is great. That's a good point. GR36. Go follow him. That's it. We're gonna call it a day there. Go follow all those people.
I should just start scrolling through my feed and be like, follow this person, follow this person. There's be a lot of people some of these people already follow. Some of these people that are just like, no, I'm not even gonna follow them because they probably are crap. There's one here that Andrew Rivers liked.
So oh god damn it! I just took a preemptive drink because I'm about to rein us back in.
Yes, I didn't wonder if you would.
Oh, before I do that though, I just want to point out Andrew Rivers is hilarious. Go follow him as well. It's Andrew J. Rivers. That guy is amazing. His Facebook is just the funniest thing.
Yeah, we've both.
I love that so much.
I know. I love his Facebook.
So now that I'm reining us back in, and I already took the drink for that preemptively.
You should do it again just in case people didn't notice.
Oh, I'm sure they noticed. It's a real. I'm down to like a third of this glass is all I have left. It's really slightly concerning.
I barely have a mouthful left, I think.
So let's do this. So CCleaner, as it's called.
Yes.
CCleaner is a service that, if we're all honest here, shouldn't exist, right? This should, and I think Swift on Security. Actually, while we're discussing this, go follow at Swift on Security. It's a really good InfoSec Twitter account. It's believe it or not, it's not actually Taylor Swift, but go follow Swift on Security.
Imagine if it was Taylor Swift.
Oh, I'd love it so much more if it was actually Taylor Swift.
At the end of her songs, rather than taking the piss out of herself, she just starts doing ads for tech stuff.
Oh, can you imagine? But yeah, so at Swift on Security made a really good argument about this.
See, that was a pun. You should take a drink.
What was?
The whole Swift.
What? Did I miss it? I have no idea what you're on about.
Well, you said it's not anything to do with Taylor Swift. I think that's a pun enough.
Yeah, but it's not my fault, and it's not really a pun on anything. I think it's just.
I think the fact you picked it up is enough.
No, it's a cybersecurity thing, right? It's like the profile picture is literally a picture of Taylor Swift. Like it's something that a lot of InfoSec people do. They have like accounts that are like either fake celebrities or just clearly not them, right? Malware-Tech blog had the same thing. He had his profile picture was of his cat. Well, actually, I don't even think it was his cat. It was of a cat, because you want to hide yourself in that situation, right? Because the moment you're found talking about whoever it is, right? The moment you turn around and go, actually, Microsoft have really bad security, Microsoft comes after you, and if you have your own name on that, that's a real issue.
And let's face it, if it was actually Taylor Swift, she wouldn't have to worry about that stuff.
That too, yeah.
Taylor Swift could go after them and they'd be screwed.
But yeah, I've been interestingly, Swift on Security and Dr. Pizza have been the two Twitter accounts I've been following a lot lately in terms of cybersecurity. I hadn't realized how much they talk to each other until just recently. But yeah, so what I was trying to say here is that CCleaner shouldn't really exist. It kind of should be a thing that already exists, right? The ability to clear cache, and okay, not the ability to clear cache. Clear cache? Oh, I'm gonna have to drink for that, aren't I?
Yep, agreed.
Oh, damn it. Oh, I've got like one mouthful left. I'm not enjoying this. 10 minutes, power for it. Come on, we got this. It's not the ability to clear cache. I really focused on that before I said it. Did you notice?
I could tell, yeah.
I was like, okay, don't say the L in the second word. You only need one L, George. But I feel bad for Microsoft because the ability to clear cache is difficult, and the fact that cache management in Windows is so impossible is it's a blessing and a curse, right? It exists for a reason. The reason being, if you do clear cache and it goes wrong, it kills Windows, right? That is why they make it so hard to delete temporary files, because you never know when that temporary file might actually be needed. Excuse me. Right? And if you end up accidentally deleting a temporary file that is needed and Windows crashes, you can't have it as a built-in service, right? So that's why CCleaner exists. But there's also a similar argument to do with Task Manager, right? Task Manager is also a relatively advanced tool that if you screw that up will go very, very wrong. But I just don't envy Microsoft in this situation. However, that's not where it gets worse. Where it gets worse is that CCleaner exists, which is all well and good when it's not being hacked, but it was hacked, and it was compromised, and it distributed malware for roughly a month. So between the 15th of August and 12th of September, it was modified to include the Floxif malware. I'm not even sure how it's pronounced. It's Floxif. I think it's pronounced Floxif. It has been removed. Probably. It was a Trojan virus that has been removed forever, I hope. That no longer... Oh, God, hang on. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, no, I'm good. I think. Okay, cool. But yeah, Floxic. Damn it, I'll drink. Hang on. Actually, I just want to point out the reason I made that mistake is because Foxic is a robot in Robot Wars, and I was thinking of that because Robot Wars are coming back soon, and I'm so hyped. Right, I've left the tiniest bit because I want to be able to take one more drink just in case I have to. But yeah, it's difficult because CCleaner kind of shouldn't exist, but it has to because Windows don't give you the ability to clear cache very well, but it introduces these vulnerabilities. What's your opinion on it?
As you say, I don't think it needs to exist. I mean, because it does do more than sort of the clearing the cache, but it's all stuff that you can do yourself, I think. Because I think can't it defrag as well and stuff like that.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, with most of the storage these days, you don't want to be defragmenting.
Yes, that's a good point. Actually, never defragment an SSD.
Yes, or
that
any
will ruin all of your flash storage. If you're running Windows 10, it will automatically not defragment an SSD. It can pick up the difference, so you should be okay. However, never defrag an SSD.
Unless you really want to be getting an SSD very soon.
What I will say is it doesn't kill the SSD, but what it does is it significantly reduces its lifespan.
Yeah.
So if you defrag it once by accident, you'll be fine. But if you defrag it consistently, then you may or may not find that it just loses all of its lifespan, 100% of it.
But yeah, most of these softwares, I know CCleaner, and I know there's a few other ones. I can't think of the names at this present point in time. Most of them are doing things that you can do manually yourself anyway. Things like defragmentation, clearing up space on a hard drive I know you can go into like my computer at the moment. Like if I went onto File Explorer, this PC, right click on the hard drive properties, and you go into the tools, and you could do things like error checking. Actually, where is the disk cleanups now in general?
Yes,
it's all stuff you should be able to do yourself. But the reason it's a thing is because of the people that don't understand really doesn't make it either doesn't make much of a difference, or that you can do it manually yourself anyway. It's just an ease of use thing, and most of it at this point in time, do you really need it? No, I don't think it's impossible, or it's that needed, to be honest, anymore.
But shouldn't Microsoft be making that clearer? I think that's a
I
real.
think, yeah. I think that's
the things that CCleaner offers are mostly available like outside of CCleaner, but it's really hard to know that. It's a real.
Yeah, I think it's something like things like defragmentation. Most people know that that's a thing without things like CCleaner. That's been that word has been thrown around for years as a way to speed up your computer, and it used to be the case. Yes, now it doesn't really matter, but most people know about that one. But other things, I think there is a slight element of Microsoft needing to make people realise is an issue, or is something you can do without programs that could have malware. Because I mean, CCleaner is a quite well-known one. It's a one where you should be able to trust it.
It is the most popular.
Yeah, and it's one I before now wouldn't think too much about trusting it.
Yeah.
But there are lots of programs that do the exact same thing as CCleaner and say, oh yeah, it's all free and all that. But turns out the reason why it's free is because they're making money off like taking your data or
the ads. The
ads. I mean, it is a sector with a lot of dodgy versions of programs in it. So it is something where I think Microsoft should work a little harder on letting you know. Or even if that is by putting in, say, a button in the settings, speed up the PC, this will do blah, blah, and blah, no need for any further software. I don't know how they do it, but I think they need to do something.
So can you do me a quick favour?
Yeah.
Can you go into Disk Cleanup and point it to your C drive? Because as you were talking, I just did that, right? So Disk Cleanup for C, right? My C drive is a 0.5 terabyte SSD. So it's pretty sizable. I've got 123 gigabytes free. But in the hypothetical situation where I have 20 megabytes free, and I'm looking around for what I can delete and I find nothing, right? If I go into Disk Cleanup, it is telling me that there are roughly 8.7 gigabytes worth of files.
Ditto. About 8.78 or something. And only 100 meg more if you include Windows files.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 0 more. Because I tend to delete the temporary installation files straight away. Right after I install a new version of Windows, I go into Disk Cleanup.
See, I've only got a 120 gig hard drive, so it is a good idea for me once every month, 2 months or whatever, just quickly go on there, so it isn't sitting quite so near to the sort of the full mark, because SSDs do slow down when they're approaching full. So for me, it is actually a good idea to sort of get those 8 gigs back.
Yeah. But is it the kind of thing that should be more common knowledge?
Yeah, because I think the whole sort of typing into the search bar Disk Cleanup, most people wouldn't realise. Going into the browser, this PC, properties, seeing that tiny Disk Cleanup button. Yeah. Most people wouldn't go that far to see the stats of how much. If they go into this PC, it's just to see the 18 gig free of 111 gigabytes. That is for me. They won't then go into properties and see that button, and even if they do, they'll probably think, oh, I probably shouldn't click this.
Yeah.
Especially on some of the
I think there's a lot of fear around it as well, right? You don't want to delete something you don't know.
Yeah.
Out of fear of breaking your PC.
And I think some people seem to think that, this program is purely for this stuff. They obviously know what they're doing, obviously know what they can delete and can't, and I think it's a lot of fear-mongering, and these companies actually hoping that fear continues in order to carry on getting customs, I think.
Yeah, so the next time I need 8.7 gigs off on my SSD, I should say, or the next time you need storage on yours, it is most likely temporary files. And if you run Windows 10, it's really simple. You just hit the Windows button and type in disk and then clean, and it tends to be the first thing that comes up at that point, disk cleanup. Hit that, hit the C drive, and then or whatever drive Windows is installed on your PC. It is worth mentioning that this will only clean up. It won't only clean up, but it will most likely only find stuff on the drive that Windows is installed on. So hit OK and then hit clean up system files. You do need to be an admin for that. If it's the kind of thing you're doing, you should probably be an admin anyway. And that only gets rid of Windows install files. So unless you just updated Windows, it shouldn't be that much storage anyway. But it's definitely something I suggest. Luckily, CCleaner has been patched now. It was patched a couple of weeks ago, September 12th. So that is okay. But it's one of those things where I have a very similar situation when it comes to anti-malware and stuff like that. For me, it's more don't get it in the first place as opposed to install a piece of anti-malware software to tell me I've got it. So don't visit dodgy websites. And, just not visiting dodgy websites tends to deal with a lot of the malware. You'd be surprised, right?
Yeah, and I think any malware that you get that's from a slightly more legitimate source will probably skip past an anti-malware program anyway, because it will be new enough and good enough that it's got itself into a good source anyway.
Yeah, it's a real difficult one because part of me wants to be like, oh no, use CCleaner because it's really good for you. But another part of me wants to be like, don't use CCleaner because if you put in 5 more minutes of effort, then it works, like without CCleaner. But do you want to put in that 5 more minutes of effort? Is it worth it to you? That's the real
most
question.
people it's confusing. So yeah, no, I think it's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. Even if CCleaner itself goes away, there'll be another program to replace it, doing exactly what it does, probably at the exact same vulnerability to malware.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that's going to stay around until it gets to a point where Microsoft comes out and says, look, you can do it all yourself, or look, Windows does it all for you. You don't have to even tell a program to do it for you. We just do it on your behalf.
And then you fall into those edge cases, which is a real issue, right? Where you clear the cat. And it's this is why I don't envy Apple, because either they do the we will clear it for you, and then there's a 1 in a million chance that it screws up, but Windows is installed on like 500 million devices, so it screws up for 500 different people.
Yeah.
Right? Or they don't do that, and then you end up in a situation where every device has 5 gigabytes of storage that could be deleted. I don't envy them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So do you want to... Finally, I want to mention this in passing more than anything else. I don't think this is a topic we can cover for more than like 5 minutes. So
I certainly need to go to the toilet, to be honest.
If you want, I'll start this topic and you can jump back in. Yeah,
I'll definitely do that.
Cool.
Okay.
So if this is a discovery that if you use the control center in iOS 11 and you turn off Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, it doesn't actually turn off Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It's not a bug. This is completely intended, which makes it even worse now that I think about it. So it doesn't actually completely turn it off. What it does is it kind of turns it off. When you toggle it, all it actually does is disconnect from any devices you're already connected to. This means the big reason for this is because what they want to happen is when you turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, it still works with all your Apple devices. So it still works with your Apple Pencil, your Apple Watch, but it also still works with AirPlay and AirDrop, as well as still getting location services. And it's just a real push towards... I'm just going to mute Paul's mic because there's some background music. Or not music, but sounds. There we are. Hang on, I'm going to let him sit back down real quick. There we are.
Hello.
I heard you like coming back and I mute your mic real quick, but it's unmuted now.
Okay.
I was just still talking about Bluetooth and Wi-Fi not actually being turned off. But yeah, it's difficult, right? Because the reason you'd want to turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is that it means that you're less exposed, right? Because the devices aren't, you're not broadcasting your device. Whereas
battery savings, I think.
and battery saving, yeah, that's a good point. Whereas if you go into Command Center and turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, all it does is disconnect current devices. It doesn't actually turn it off. So not only is it a security risk, it's also a battery risk, and it feels kind of deceptive. It feels kind of shady.
Yeah, frankly, I think it's more of a battery risk. Most people only turn it off because of the fact that they need to conserve battery. So having Wi-Fi in the background, especially while it's not connected to anything, it just keeps searching for things, which I'm guessing it will still be doing, and same with probably Bluetooth. It's actively taking up power that most people don't want taken up, especially if they're out late one night and they need to sort of keep power in their phone just in case for security of themselves rather than just their phones. It's kind of a worrying aspect. I know I hate my battery running out, and it happens quite a lot at the moment because.
Hey.
Don't
So
even
I
get me
had some
started on my
friends
phone.
over yesterday. Actually, I had some family friends over yesterday.
You have friends?
Yeah,
family
I know.
friends, okay.
Yeah, I know. One of whom has a Nexus 6P, and I asked him if he had a similar issue, and he said no. So suck it.
So you want to switch with me?
Surprisingly, not. No. Yeah, because we'd been discussing the Pixel 2. So he's also very much an Android fan. He had an LG G3 before that, G3, I believe, G2, one of those.
IG2.
So he might have had the G3 then. It was one. It was one. You know the one that had the circle case, like the case which had a circle cut out for the.
That was.
I think that was a
G3.
G3.
G3, I'm sure.
So he went from that to the 6P, and then he was thinking about whether or not he wanted a Pixel 2, potentially. And we were discussing the headphone jack, or the lack of a headphone jack on the Pixel 2.
Or probably will be the lack of a headphone
Yeah,
jack.
the most likely lack of a headphone jack on a Pixel 2. Which is single-handedly the reason I will be switching to an LG V30 instead. Which to me is ridiculous. Like, I'm thinking like, I went on this discussion with Greg when he was on the podcast, where I was discussing whether it's not immoral, but whether it's stupid, I guess, is what I'm looking for, to buy an Android device that isn't the Pixel from a security standpoint. Because at least if you buy a Pixel, you're guaranteed updates. And you're guaranteed instant updates, right?
You're meant to be guaranteed that soon anyway with Android Oreo and how that may be allowed to work with the updates.
Yeah.
But I think if you're an Android fan, you're a Pixel fan. I'm definitely certain with that. But I think that if you want a secure Android phone without going for, is it the black phone or something like that?
Yeah, but I think that's it. I don't think if they even make phones anymore. They haven't released one this year, that's for sure. The Silent Circle black phone.
The
black phone 2 is the latest device. And that's about a year old.
If you want a secure Android phone, though, it's certainly got to be a Pixel or a Nexus. Well, I guess it's Pixel now because Nexus is dating. But yeah, it's if you're that worried about it, then frankly, why? You're probably going to get hacked into either way if you're that particularly worried. If you are worried about security, then it is Pixel all the way, really, because you're going to get the update straight away.
Yeah.
Though sometimes that can also be a curse.
And it's worth pointing out that a lot of security researchers agree, if you want to go for flat-out security, if all you care about in your devices is security, you go for a Chromebook as your PC or laptop, and you go for Windows Phone as your mobile device, because no one's trying to hack Windows Phone, let's be honest here.
Yeah, but that sort of the hacks can lead across from normal Windows because it's so similar.
They don't tend to, luckily. and no one tries to
Fair
as
enough.
well.
I guess so.
And
Yeah.
So if all you want is security, Chromebook, Windows Phone, that's it.
Or you go
Or
for
Chromebook
like
iOS.
Symbian.
To be fair, that is.
Or
Or
go
yeah,
for, like,
Chromebook Symbian. Chromebook Black. Oh god, Blackberries.
Um.
So I think.
Okay, so new drinking rule: if you say something good about blackberries, you have to.
Oh
say
man, I think you know what? I think we should both finish our drinks at this point because it's the end of the episode.
yes.
So we're both gonna finish our drinks. Oh man. Whew. I can't believe I made a 50-50 mix.
Yeah,
That was a bad idea.
Yeah, you're probably certainly a lot worse.
That was probably like 4 shots worth. Like I feel myself like, you know when you've had a bit to drink and you like focusing takes extra energy.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm like right now. I'm like I just need to focus. Just pay attention. Just do
Sound
it.
stoked whilst doing it.
Yeah. Try not to sound stoned. But yeah, so it's taking all of my effort, and it's also I've only looked at the webcam like twice this episode, I think. So enjoy some prolonged eye contact directly into the webcam. You're welcome. Because
I've looked at it most of the episodes because I always my webcam picture.
Yeah, I just keep glancing across because my Skype is always on my other screen. I keep looking at you, whereas most episodes I'm okay with it, and I just ignore you and look at the webcam. Whereas I haven't done that this episode, so I've just been staring directly into the webcam for the last like a minute or so.
You just said something stupid. Take a drink.
What did I say?
You're looking at me.
No, that doesn't count. I also finished my drink. So.
It's pretty stupid. You have to go down and get a shot after the show.
Oh, I might do that actually. No, that's a lie. I won't do that. So, Paul, thank you for being on. This is the Snappy-Tech podcast, episode number 13, as recorded on the 24th of September, 2017, where I officially turned 20 years old. I am so old.
Yeah, we can kind of tell by your receding hairline.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Thanks for that low blow. On the subject of receding hairline, however, go to snappy.tech/insta, I believe it is. Let me just double check that.
Did you just see what I did on the the webcam?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I've been paying attention.
I was just like, yeah, like mine's good.
God damn you.
See, normal sized forehead. Oh no, like.
So go to snappy.tech/Instagram, and it will take you to my Instagram. Now, for the last 20 days, roughly, I've been uploading a picture a day, of me through the years, right? So the first picture is me of at my youngest, and then every day I'm a year older through the pictures, leading up to today. So go check that out if you want to see how I aged. I found it really fun because I was digging through the images and getting a bunch of captions for them, which I wrote I wrote all the captions. I think a few of them were quite funny, right? And then I published a picture today, which I completely promised was completely unedited and is actually what I looked like. I promise.
Yeah,
I promise.
He does actually look like us.
Yeah, it's the webcam. The webcam makes me look younger. But I've been making a lot of receding hairline jokes, and I mentioned this yesterday during the party where we had people over. That my biggest regret about my receding hairline isn't that soon I'll have no hair. Like I don't care about that, to be completely honest. It's that once I have no hair, I won't be able to make receding hairline jokes anymore. Like, that is my biggest regret. Because if you go onto today's image, you will see that, as part of the caption, it reads, "Now that I'm 20, I can feel my hairline receding quicker than a French army." And it's just jokes like that I won't be able to make, that I really regret. So go subscribe to Snappy-Tech. You're here already. Congrats to you. So just click under the video, go do that, and then go to snappy.tech/podcast if you want to see the audio version of this show. Go to /iTunes if you're on an iOS device or on a MacBook to get it in iTunes. And yeah, go check that out. We're live every 8 p.m. on Sunday, British summertime currently. At the end of October, we moved back to GMT, so it'll be 8 p.m. GMT then. But for now, it's British summertime because it's apparently summer in Britain. That's a complete lie. It's only ever summer for like 3 days a year. So go do that. Come join us next week if you want to. We'll see you then. Thank you for joining us. I now have to hit stop streaming. See you guys later. Bye.
Peace.